my superpower is also just dealing with the next hour and making that as efficient as possible. And then you just repeat that process. And I'm quite good at repeating stuff.
Hello, I'm Renee McGregor. I'm a sports dietitian and regular here at KMF, and I'm very, very excited to be interviewing Sean Conway, who has many endurance challenges under his belt. But how are you, Sean?
I'm good. I love the festival because I met my wife at the Kendal Mountain Festival in 2016 now. So it's good to be back.
Oh, wow. Now that's a story.
Yeah, no, there's three of us. Me, myself, Bruce Duncan and Leo Holding. We all met our wives at the festival. And I keep saying it every year. They need to do a speed dating.
Well, apparently there was something this year,
Really?
wasn't there? There was a singles meetup.
Oh, really?
I didn't obviously go, being very securely attached to someone. But how amazing! Are you both here?
We're both here now. We brought our two boys, so they're running right and loving it.
It's amazing. And have they been enjoying the festival as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How old are your boys?
4 and 2, so they're still very young. So the 4-year-old is trying to get as many stickers off all the stands as possible. That's his game at the moment. So free stickers, that's what he wants.
Awesome. And what else have you been up to? Like, what have you been doing? What stories have you been sharing with your audience? Tell me a little bit about your KMF 2023 so far.
Well, I actually only arrived a couple of hours ago, so I was sort of straight into childcare and running after the boys and that sort of thing. I took the boys up to the castle, had a nice view over Kendal, and I used to live in the lake, so it's every time I come back, Caroline and I are like, did we make a right decision moving away? Absolutely love it. But it's nice to come back and that sort of thing. So at the moment, well, for me in particular, it's the one place in the year where all my mates are in the same tent. So it's I never get to see half of them for the rest of the year because we're all off doing our own thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up with everyone tonight.
So a really good time to catch up and see what everyone's been up to.
Yeah, exactly that, pretty much, yeah.
So, Sean, you are best known for your endurance endeavours, and I know that you have a session tomorrow. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on tomorrow and what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, I'm doing the endurance session tomorrow, 12:30 on Sunday, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's I'm obviously coming off the back of doing 105 Ironmans in a row at the beginning of the year, which was miserable. There was not one moment of that was enjoyable. Everything else I've done, there was like at least 10% enjoyment. Like when I cycled around the world fast, at least I'm seeing different places and that sort of thing. But this one was 105 days of 2.4 mile swim in a pool, 112 mile doing the same laps, and then a marathon doing 2 laps along the River Dee, which was, it was pretty, but it was just flat and boring. So I do definitely miss the mountains. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that. No one else on the planet has done 105 full Ironmans in a row, so I want to share how miserable that was.
And I actually happen to be interviewing you tomorrow about that, but one of the questions I'm quite curious to know is, I understand from our chats earlier that you made the decision, by the time you got to 102, you made the decision to just basically decide whether you continued on the flip of a coin. So tell me a little bit more about that, because that's really interesting from my point of view.
Yeah, I decided to flip a coin to carry on after the record. The record was 102. I knew I wanted to do 103 because I wanted to know how my body and mind would cope, knowing I didn't have to do it. Up to 102, I had to do it. Like, that was the job, break the world record. 103, didn't have to do it. So would I wake up in the morning and do it, and my body would just fall apart and go, whoa, we're done, go to bed? Or will it thrive because there was no pressure? And actually, I thrived. All of a sudden I was like, wow, pressure's off. Doesn't matter if I crash on the bike now. Doesn't matter if I blow tomorrow. I can push it a bit harder and just test the waters. So that's what I did, and actually felt good. And then I sort of let the internet decide for the next one, thinking, well, maybe I'll just do that. So I made an agreement with Caroline that I wanted to carry on because I felt like I could, even though it was painful and miserable and horrible. I didn't want to quit because I felt like I could carry on. But Caroline was like, oh, come on, man, don't do that to me. So I was like, right, well, we'll let the internet decide.
Yeah.
And then that's not going to go on forever. But then it turns out the internet decided 74% said carry on. So I thought the internet was a bad way to carry on. So I thought, right, well, I'll just flip a coin. And then when the coin says stop, that's the coin stopping, not me. And I could deal with that more in my head, I think.
So do you think then, if the coin had said do 106, 107, maybe 110. Do you think you could have done it for the full, like, do you think you could have carried on for a full year?
So I printed numbers up to 123.
Okay.
So I had race numbers and caps that I wore each day. Because I sort of thought, it's part of my manifestation. Like, not only am I going to break the record, I'm going to smash it and go straight through it. So I do lots of that sort of manifesting in the lead up. And I thought, well, what's the next cool number? I was like, well, 123 sounds kind of cool. So I definitely could have gone to there. Could I have done a year? I think someone will do a year. I think it would be difficult to do a year in the UK with weather and road conditions. I think you'd have to go somewhere like America and do 2 locations. So you do a winter route in the south and a summer route in the north. But yeah, I don't know. I think in 10 years time, if no one's done the year, I might have a crack at it.
Brilliant. I love that. You're obviously also known for your, your travel across the UK, and you swam, ran and biked that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what made you want to do that? And then, like, I'm always curious about these extreme challenges, mainly from a job perspective as a dietitian. I'm always like really curious to sort of know what thoughts go into it, what planning goes into it. As someone who has crewed a number of these big events, there's so much planning that goes on from a nutritional point of view. But I guess I'm curious to know, like, what was that like, and what made you want to do that?
The cycle of Land's End John O'Groats, which was 2008, the first time I've done that, that was because I just couldn't afford to go away on holiday. So I was like, I should do something cheap. So I bought a bike on eBay for nothing, and then spent 25 days doing Land's End John O'Groats as just a cheap holiday, really, which it was, because I was camping the whole way. It cost me far less than spending a month anywhere else doing anything else. So that was that. Then I swam Land's End John O'Groats because no one had ever done it. And I was like, well, that's totally doable. I looked at the maths, I looked at all the figures, and there's nothing suggested the swim was going to be impossible. It was just going to be long, cold, wet, and miserable, which is exactly what it was. And I kept getting stung on the face by jellyfish, which is why I grew this beard. And I still have this anti-jellyfish protection beard now because I think it gives me superpowers, and I'm too scared to shave it. Like, just don't want to tempt fate. And then after I'd done the swim, obviously, I had to do the run to tick off the triathlon. And I'm still the only person to have done all 3. I'm like, come on, I want someone else in my Christmas party. So there's only 2 other people who've done the swim, Ross Edgley and Jasmine Harrison. And until I'm trying to get them to cycle and run it. And then I can have at least 3 people in my club.
That sounds very good. And is triathlon your background? Is that where, like, or is it just you just like doing long endurance events? You're obviously incredibly fit and able to do these amazing events. So what do you think it is? Do you think it's a physiological gift you have, or do you think it's more of a psychological edge?
So I don't think there's one particular thing that makes me good at this. It's definitely not physiological. I've been tested, so there's nothing in me that makes me an outlier. I think my superpower is a couple of things. One is I'm quite good at just managing being miserable. I'm quite good at that. The second thing is I'm really good at micromanaging everything while I'm doing it. So looking at there's 10.5 pistons of endurance. There was 10, there's now I've added a half at the end. But it's planning, experience, fitness, health, nutrition, hydration, sleep, muscle management, motivation, or mindset, community, and the 0.5 is luck. You need the luck sometimes. And yeah, I micromanage all of those every single day, and that allows me to keep on top of the wave, to allow me to do the big miles, to do it repetitively day after day for months on end. And again, I've got quite a short-term memory, so I'm never really remembering back at how miserable it was. I've sort of forgotten about it already, and I'm also never really looking too far ahead. My superpower is also just dealing with the next hour and making that as efficient as possible, and then you just repeat that process. And I'm quite good at repeating stuff.
So that sounds quite like you're having to be fairly mindful, like staying really quite present, I suppose, rather than thinking way too far advance or thinking about what you've done before, which is quite an art. Do you practice any sort of mindfulness or meditation or anything like that generally? Is that something that is part of your daily routine?
No, I don't do any of that. I think I'm naturally inquisitive. So I think there's a part of me that's always questioning why am I slower today? Why am I faster today? Why is this knee hurting? Why is the ankle hurting? Why am I tired? Why am I, feeling anything? And so I think it's just that inbuilt inquisitiveness, which I've always had since I was a kid. Then the sort of it does change though, because it all depends on how well I'm doing. If I'm really like ahead of the record, I've got no injuries or anything, I can then just go and drift off into la la land and go into some sort of more meditative state, right? Which is good because you need that brain space. You need to dump. You don't want your brain to be super busy. It's nice to have that sort of that downtime. And it's a bit like when you drive on the motorway. You don't drive from here to Birmingham, and when you get there, someone doesn't sit you down and go, "What did you think about for that drive?" It's like, well, nothing. And it's the same. Like sometimes when things are going well, I just get into this autopilot, and then I'm able to just carry on. However, you can't take your foot off the gas sometimes, because that's the dangerous part, and that's when people get injured. Like mountaineers, most of them get injured on the way down, right? Because they're so focused on getting up, when they get up and they're like, I'm done now. And then that's when they get injured, right?
Yeah.
When I did my motorbike course, apparently like 90% of motorcycle accidents happen within like 2 miles of the person's house, because it's quite stressful riding a motorbike, and then you kind of get to the roads near your house and you relax, and then that's when you crash. So you got to be careful of that. You can't take your eye off the ball. You got to keep at it, keep resilient, and like micromanage everything. Get all your ducks in a row every single day, and that's when you can do it repeatedly. For stuff that is a week or long, like if you could do something short, like a double or triple Ironman or something, you can wing a lot of that and still survive it. You may not win it, but you'll survive it. Whereas anything that's day after day, you gotta just be on it all the time, really.
So obviously, you're on quite a lot, as in, you like doing these endurance events. You're kind of focused on those. So I guess I'm curious to know, what do you do to decompress, to kind of, what do you do as your downtime that's not physically active?
Yeah, downtime. Being a dad, I love it. I love, I've got 2 young boys and they keep me busy, so that's good. I love fixing old cars. I've always got an old classic car that I'm doing up. I love my woodwork. I'm into knife making. I do that. I love my vegetable garden. I've got a little allotment behind the house. I love mowing the lawn. I love it. Just mowing the lawn. So yeah, I got a lot of little hobbies that kind of keep me going, really.
And that's really interesting, because I don't think anybody would know that about you. So I think that's a really nice place to kind of try and end things up. But before I let you go, one quick question. What are you looking forward to at KMF? Is there something you are going to go and watch or be part of that's not you talking?
Yeah. So we try and go every time we come to the family kids session tomorrow morning, just to get the kids excited about the outdoors. My oldest is 4.5. He's just getting to that age where, he'll see someone on a mountain bike or a climber and he'll be like wowed by it. So yeah, I always love to try and do stuff with the kids. That's my favorite.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sean. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and I'm looking forward to interviewing you again tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you very much.